In particularly, I guess just a general, uh, I guess a general, what does my future hold kind of thing. Because I'm very unsure about things. I'm not
How
sure
about
how it works.
I could do a 3 card spread, situation, action, and outcome. So a situation that'll happen in the future, an action you can take, and then the outcome of that action.
Okay, sounds good. Mm.
Okay, then what I need from you is to clear your mind, focus on the cards, and focus on the question.
Got it.
And then when you're ready, tell me to stop.
Stop.
Okay? Ah, a card I find myself particularly enamored with, the High Priestess, representing your situation. The High Priestess is someone who represents the subconscious. You know, your inner voice, your intuition, your wisdom, your gut. And here, when it comes to your situation, I'd say that she represents being in a situation where, how can I put it? You're trying to reconnect with your inner self.
Kind of makes sense. All things considered.
Leading to our second card, the Lover's Reversed.
God.
Yeah, the lovers usually represent, a strong bond, just love being in the air. But reverse, the meaning changes. And in this case, it would be there's some misalignment. Um, hmm. Let's say so far we're looking at a situation where you're trying to understand yourself
Mm-hmm.
and you find that there's a fundamental difference. Something inside you that cannot be reconciled.
Yeah.
And if you find this something, we get the Ace of Pentacles reverse. Hmm. Hardship. It's something where you have to reevaluate your life. Reevaluate what's working and what isn't.
Mm.
You've got to it leads to a situation where, funnily enough, financially, you're in a rough place.
That is true. I made a lot of money being a guard compared to being a mechanic,
Mm,
but so much less stress.
yeah.
There have been things I've been thinking about doing, going going back to the old Luka. Uh, well,
Mm,
before the bombs and everything, and I was stuck inside the bunker all alone. Uh, that gave me, well, putting it this way, before the bombs and everything happened, I was a lifer myself, and I finally got parole, and I finally got released after years and years of trying, and finally got released. I came back to Los Santos, and probably not even a week later, uh, me and my wife Misty, she pushed me into the bunker, to save me. Um, she was a rambunctious kind of person that always ended up going to prison, so that's kind of why I took the job at DOC, was hoping to reconnect with her somehow.
yeah.
Um, and also it didn't help that the fact that during my last few years in between parole board meetings, I was always a little bit rambunctious myself and put in solitary, so years of solitary confinement followed by a brief glimpse of freedom, then 7 years in the bunker alone.
Mm,
And then I finally got out in January when everything else kind of opened up again. And it wasn't until August of this year that I actually started learning how to speak to people again. And since August, these last few months have just been, worse to say, chaos incarnate for so many different reasons.
yeah. It's it's a rough time.
I'm still afraid of the fog. I know it's just weather, natural, earthly, but I get that jolt down my spine every time I see the fog roll in. Just thinking, oh god, it's happening again.
Yeah. I don't think anyone is gonna recover from that.
It seems like some people are. It's like they've forgotten. And I don't like that. It doesn't help that, I don't know, I feel like my memory fades in and out. So it's just like what to trust. Luckily, luckily Patrick keeps like a little diary. It helps me keep things in perspective, I guess. Also,
Mm,
for the longest time, I had memory issues too. Before I went into jail, the old group I used to hang out with, they would have to remind me every day I woke up, who I was. Um, they always had a notebook for me to read. They try to keep it updated. Funny enough, that's why I'm always posting that I'm Luka, is to remind myself that I am Luka. I'm not a. I'm not a caged animal anymore,
Yeah.
despite what my parents wanted me to be. Which is, um, so I was born and raised in the Epsilon program cult, and mom and dad were members of it, but they were also scientists at humane labs doing tests on animals, and
Mm.
they decided to try to help the program a little bit, and they used me as a test subject. So it's always been hard for me to discern what's real. Are these people being trustworthy, or just giving me a treat before the next round of tests? And what happened a few weeks ago really didn't help anything because they were like reciting.
Yeah.
That truth guy was literally reciting Epsilon program rhetoric.
Yeah.
And then I went into a seizure, which is great. I haven't even told anyone else this all this, full detail except for Patrick.
Well, I appreciate you trusting me enough to tell me.
Of course. Despite us not really talking much, I've always thought that you'd probably be probably one of the first people I told because I think you're a good listener. I think you're cool.
Yeah.
And I guess if the cards say all this, it kind of lines up. So,
Yeah.
my old group, um, they had someone else in their group well before I joined them. Um, I don't remember the name of that person at this point because memory issues as always. But they said I looked like her, talked like her. Um, so it didn't help that they would always call me a clone. So it was kind of torture being in that group, to be quite honest.
I can imagine how much that fucks with your head. Well, not just imagine, I can know how much that fucks with your head.
Yeah. It's always been difficult trying to figure out who I actually am. Because just bad thing after
If
bad thing.
if I could offer some advice,
Yeah.
you're nobody but yourself. Don't don't think you have to be like someone else just because people call you a clone. Because it's never true. There's always a difference. Whether it's experience, something genetic, whatever, always different. You can never be someone else. So be proud of who you are and the things you've done. Be proud of who you are as an individual and not as what people think you are.
I'll try to do my best on that.
Good.
Which is better than I used to. I used to just give up. I've had a lot of encouragement to not run away and hide since moving up here.
Yeah.
It's always been so much easier just to dip out of nowhere and just go hide in the woods. Or if I was down in the city, I'd just crawl behind a dumpster for a few hours. Just try to shut off all the noise down there. Being up here's helped a lot. It's quiet. And there's always a good view of the stars.
That there is.
Oh no, I wish it would rain. I've always had a affinity to lightning and lightning storms. They're like my jam. And I'm really missing that. Oh, so much.
I think we all are. I think we all want some rain.
Yeah. We need it. If only to be philosophical and to say to wash away all this bullshit. Just a good downpour. That's all I need. Me reaching for being funny again. A good downpour. That'll fix me.
Yeah.
Thank you for this. I've been putting it off for too long.
Anytime.
Maybe after the new year I'll get another one done. Really depends. Everything's happened so fast.
Who knows, maybe you'll need one sooner.
Maybe. Is there a recommended frequency?
I usually say no more than once a day, and if you're doing it like so often that it's like, every day a week, then maybe lay off it for a little bit. And cars can get a little angry when they're tested.
Fair.
So if you want like a safe time, I'd say like once or twice a week, maybe.
Yeah. I might do it probably at the beginning of the month. Every month for now.
Okay.
Which, lucky for me, that's in a few weeks.
Mm. Yeah.
I was telling Patrick so much has happened in just this short year that it's hard to comprehend it all. It's been a whirlwind.
Yeah.
I thought I was just gonna be a little taxi dispatcher down the city. And then Greco hired me for like a week. And then said never mind on that. Me, Felipe, and Ro, we were all gonna do a little propaganda department. Cheeky name for a tourism board. But it was gonna be, I was gonna do the north area nature trails and kayaking and all this other stuff. And one thing led to another, and I started working at Sandy Shores Tattoo Parlor instead.
Yeah.
And then I worked at the prison, and that was my life for way too long. That was the most stable job I've ever had. I always flunk out of jobs most of the time. I get bored easily.
Well, if it helps any, I'm glad that you're up here.
It does. I was mentioning to Patrick how since moving up to Toledo, it's been so interested, like, knowing people actually know who I am instead of, oh, that's that one person. Like, I go somewhere and people are like, oh, hey, Luka. I'm like, that's weird to me after living a life of trying to be unnoticed. It's a good feeling, though.
I'm glad.
Alright, I'm gonna get back over to Gaby and speak with Ivy. I do have her food.
Alright.
Oops.
Alright.
Thank you again.
No problem. Come back anytime.
I plan to.
Alright.